Hi everybody, Vegas Film Critic here, Jeffrey K. Howard. I hope you're not easily scared because I've got a review for a movie that's going to terrify you. And if you're a horror fan, if you're a thriller fan, this movie had all the buzz at Sundance this year. In fact, it won, I think, the Director's Award. It won a big award at Sundance. And I've heard so much about this film. That's The Witch. Yeah, well, I forgot to mention what the name was. Sorry. Called The Witch. And it's from a first-time writer-director, Robert Eggers. And he was a production designer and a costume designer. And here he goes, writing and directing his first film. And it's just gotten so much buzz. So I finally saw it. And it takes place in 1630 in New England. This is way before the Salem witch trials, and which I think is about 40 or 50 years later. It's about a family that's been ostracized from the plantation, and they're growing crops and they're raising farm animals, you know, everything they do in New England. But things start going bad. I mean, witchery is afoot, and it's the goats are like, you know, milking blood. The eggs, the chicks are dead, and the yolks are red. So there's a witch in the woods. And this isn't your run-of-the-mill kind of witch. I mean, this is like the Hansel and Gretel kind of witch. And what Robert does, can I call you Robert? And what's unique about Robert Eggers is that the movie is unique in terms of its pacing. So when you see the trailer, it looks like it's going to be a Blair Witch kind of action-packed, kind of quick-moving kind of thriller. It's not at all. It is very, very slow. And it's not a slow in a bad way. It's slow because it builds this family's paranoia, their religious religious what's the word? God dang it. Religious hysteria. The family are Puritans. I mean, every other word is, you know, a prayer or something to do with God. And they also speak in that old English kind of, you know, ye and get thee to a nunnery and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's Shakespeare. Well, you know, they speak in that old English kind of style. And what Eggers did is he actually used diaries and accounts of witchcraft encounters, you know, back in the 1630s. So all the dialogue you hear is from the times. So at times it's kind of difficult to understand what they mean when they're saying things. You're like, well, wait a minute, does that mean yes or no, or what are they saying? You know, so sometimes I really pay attention. But it's the authenticity of this movie unfolds at a snail's pace. But then there are times of just pure, shocking imagery of the witch, of what she's doing, about what's being inflicted on this family. And first of all, you notice just how miserable it was to live in the 1630s. We're talking they're living on a dirt floor in a hut with, I mean, you just can't understand how people survived in the New World, let alone in general. You know, how did the human race ever make it? So there's really a realism to this movie. I want to talk about the cast. I don't want to get their names wrong. Anya Taylor-Joy, she plays Tomlinson. She's the oldest daughter. And there's also a 14-year-old boy named Caleb, and he is, I love his name, what is it, Harvey Scrimshaw. So these two kids are victims of the witchery, and she's being blamed for everything that's going on because the father's freaking out, the mother's freaking out, her baby vanishes, and they also have two more younger children, like 6, 7 years old. And so this poor family is just being ravaged by this witch, but they don't know that it's a real witch. But the little children do. It's really creepy. The goat talks to them. They call them, oh, it's just really kind of creepy stuff going here. But you know what? You buy into it. It's believable. And it's not Hollywood. It's not some Hollywood witch. It's like the kind of witches you think about when you see, you know, Dungeons and Dragons, when you role play, and when you read The Hobbit and that kind of, it's a fantasy witch, but it's like rooted in like Brothers Grimm. I mean, it's that kind of witch. The father is Ralph Ineson, and Kate Dickie plays the mother. Unbelievable range they have. You can just hear the frustration. You can hear the panic in their voices. I mean, it was almost like watching a play. This could be a play. The Witch could be a play. I don't know how it would play, you know, play on play. Am I saying that right? But the movie really seems like you're isolated, and it's just a dark, dank, really miserable film, and not in terms of miserable, but just the setting. The setting is just absolutely amazing. The forest is all dank, it's all gray, and it's the mood of this film. And speaking of mood, we have to talk about the music. The music, it sounds like that awful Rob Zombie movie he did, you know, about the record, you know, whatever that movie was called. But the music is so uncomfortable, and it's not conventional. It sounds like rusty nails on saws. It sounds like glass is being, you know, tortured. I mean, the music is just this really creepy, kind of makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. I mean, all the elements come together for a really original horror film. And this guy, if this is his first effort, he's got a lot to live up to. Now, one thing I have, it's not a problem with the film, but just the subject matter. My theory, if we have a witch in the movie and evil does exist, and it does, it's not, fairy tale. In the movie, evil actually exists and all these things happen. Why can't we fight it? I hate movies like this where there's no sign of goodness, where can we have a spell or something that can combat the witch? I hate when people are total victims in movies like this. And the other thing is, here constantly in this film, they were religious fanatics. They were praying to God constantly. The father was like, God, save my children. And they were praying 24/7 in this movie. Their lives revolved around religion, around Christ, and around Christianity. So in this movie, it's like, where is God? I mean, the devil is there, right? Because there's the witch and there's all this evil doings going on. Has God, I was thinking about this after the movie, has God abandoned them? Does God even exist? So I had all these questions of like, how come the devil gets so much publicity and everything happens at a drop of a hat, but there was no sign of God? There was no beam of light. There was no angel. Not that there should be, but just there was no sign that he would allow this to happen to his followers. That just drove me crazy that these people were like, they're just going, oh God, please. They were like screaming, like just tears down, just this fanaticism. But God was nowhere to be found. All right, one more thing that really made me laugh. What's the name of this place? The Satanic Temple. I guess they have a church in wherever, Salt Lake or Utah or LA or I don't know where the hell it is. But they sponsored all these screenings of this movie and they endorse it. God, it's so lame. Witches have nothing to do. Witches were paganism. They were of the earth. There was no such thing as, boil and boil, double trouble, all that. That's just all Hollywood. That's all folklore. It just drives me crazy that they think Satan has something to do with witches. I mean, it just drives me nuts. What a bunch of morons. Did I forget anything? Probably not. But really cool film. It's just really amazing effort and very creepy. But like I said, don't let it rush. I mean, we're all used to being spoon-fed our thrillers and our horror films. Let the movie just unfold at its own pace. I'm telling you, you're going to be talking about this to everybody. All right, for more reviews and interviews, just surf on over to my website, vegasfilmcritic.com. Check out my podcast on iTunes. And please subscribe below, comment, give me a thumbs up. I'm Jeffrey K. Howard. I'll see you next time.